Hi, I'm Chase Stokes. I play John B. on Outer Banks. This is kind of a spoiler for episode 10. It's actually a spoiler. So if you haven't seen the finale of this season, don't watch this video.
You gotta be kidding me. We haven't been here for 2 minutes. Almost stops, amigos. What the? Hey!
We gotta go!
What?
We gotta run!
That was so much fun. We did that in Barbados. So we're there in the middle of the street and they're holding traffic and all me and Jonathan are doing 27 times is running down this really long street and it's like, hey, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? So those are my memories of that. And then they had like, we had these little street cars with all these exotic fruits that I kept eating from.
I mean, at first I was like, what? But then I think about how much I accidentally run into people like that in real life that I didn't know were gonna be here, especially like we're kind of on the same trail for the same thing anyway. You know, that moment was kind of like, we just kind of played it like, okay, like I want to mention this right now, but we got to get out of here because people really don't want to think they got guns. Like, so, you know, I'll take it for what it is. The universe puts you puts the right people in the right positions at the right time, and you can't explain it sometimes.
You know the No Love Club?
Yeah.
I quit.
Oh! Hey.
Nope, that was not scripted. Me and JD talked about it like this whole season. We were very intentional about like wanting our characters to have like a true love story and something that doesn't feel rushed, but just feels intentional. So me and JD kind of planned that day that we're just gonna start kissing and then they're just gonna have to make us stop because we just were like, we feel like our characters are ready for this. That was our thing. We were like, fine, we're just gonna go for it. We rehearsed it a few times. We're just gonna go for it. We're just gonna kiss and they're gonna think it's so great that they're just gonna keep it in. That was our idea. And then we get there, ready to kiss, and they're like, oh, by the way, script change, you guys are kissing now. We were like, oh, okay, that's fine. You know, never thought of that. So yeah, so that was it was really good because I feel like when we talked about the writers, they were like, you know, maybe we'll punt it to next season. Like we don't really know if this really fits. It was really just supposed to be maybe just like a pop kiss or maybe just like a she might think about it. But we were like, nah, Pope and Cleo, they're gonna go for it this season. Yeah,
originally in the script it was just kind of a cheek kiss and that was it. Like Cleo kisses Pope on the cheek and he's just like, oh, and I was like, nah, we gotta do this right. And so, you know, we did the cheek kiss and then I was like, I think Pope should just go back in for it. You know, Carlacia was like, yeah, like absolutely. And Jonas also, he even pitched it on the day and we were like, oh, we were already planning to do that. And I tell you, yeah, everybody was like really like, you know, this is a very cathartic moment for Pope, you know, like somebody showing genuine interest and he's like, this person has been there for me in ways that like other people just haven't, you know, and brought him out of a really dark space. And now he opened up to her and she's trying to be vulnerable and you can tell that she's really bad at it. And she's kind of like, I don't know how to like say this or do this or it's been a while for both of them, or well, definitely for her. And, you know, she kind of like needs Pope to take the lead on that and he does. And, you know, it's a really, really beautiful, touching moment and a beautiful scenery. Like to be able, and we were in Barbados filming that, like right off this like this beautiful cliff and like this amazing view, and you know, I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Back up.
Put it down, Sarah. You're not gonna shoot your own. Here. You're one of us now, G.
I don't think she ever fully trusted him. I think the fact that it's all very, I think it's all like, it's nice and he's playing along, but I think it's all still very suspicious. I don't think she ever really trusts her family, even though her dad's playing nice now. So I think it's more just like the, kind of like that hollow hurt of once again being betrayed, but kind of in a way expecting it. You're not surprised, but more just like, I have gotten everybody here and I'm just getting John B's dad to trust me. And now this happens. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess.
did it.
It was superseded by, I think, 2 days of being in an underground cave with no cell signal and very muggy conditions, and it was full on like Survivor meets Alex Honnold type of situation where you're climbing these rock formations and you're diving into these pools, and we're literally in a cave underground. Like you take a tram down, and then you go out for lunch, and that's it. Like you're stuck in there. And it was nuts. It was the most difficult, physically and mentally, as an actor. It's the most difficult thing I've ever done, and I'm sure Maddie could probably say the same thing. And the payoff of those moments was kind of beautiful, but you're also like, there's a sense of just being fully delirious because you've been down there for so long. So the reactions are hilarious because it's like Maddie and I actually looking like we're just completely not there, which I think would be the honest reaction to seeing something like that after going through these cave systems and showing up and finding the lost city of gold that decades and hundreds of years at this point, people have tried to find and failed. These two 17-year-old kids find it and, have this amazing discovery. But it was cool. It's, Barbados is such an insane country, and for them to let us use those locations was really, really a blessing. And I think, the value it brought to the show on a production scale was really, really cool.
I mean, Chip has been such a mentor to the young actors on the show and has been so unbelievably dedicated to making every part of the show as interesting and as emotionally layered as it possibly could be. He's relentless about it, Sydney. I've never seen anything like it. And so the scariest part was not having Chip Eston going forward, honestly.
I thought it was quite poetic, even though it was really, really sad. Like, really, really, really sad. It was Chip's last day on set, Charles, who plays Ward. I was already really emotional about it because he's become like kind of like a father to all of us. He's so nice. He was kind of like one of the first actors who had so much experience, who I got to work with extensively and learn from. And we've always had the best time with him. So to know that was his last day was already emotional. So there was my ammo. And then I think what I thought was really poetic about it was the fact that the one time Sarah's dad showed up for her throughout this whole, throughout the past 30 episodes now, was the time that ended him. It was his last. It was the one time or one time he really genuinely meant what he did. There was no motive behind it, just to protect her, and it ended up killing him. Chip and I talked about this the other day. Originally, it was scripted that Ward accidentally backs off the cliff and falls. He really wanted it to be like a self-sacrifice type, like, this is like my last Hail Mary, like, I've got to do this. So, and I think that made it 1,000 times more emotional and stronger, and my reaction was just sad, but also I think there was a resolve to it as well. Like, that fight with her dad's over.
You did it.
I'll see you. I'll see you at home, kid.
Dad.
Part of it was you can kind of see it coming with the downfall of who he is as a person and the decisions he's made. And on a personal level, you get to love and care about people and spend so much time throughout the course of making a TV show, and you spend more time with your co-stars than you do your family. And so it feels like you're losing a family member in a weird way. But I think we had to pay off some debts in the show.
And Big John, oh my gosh, I'm so impressed by what Charlie did this season. I mean, coming off of thinking your character died season 1, I mean, you did a certain amount of work, and now you're coming back as like a series regular for this season, like a huge character in this season, and I think he absolutely crushed it. I'm so grateful for what he brought to the screen for our show. To know that this was his last moment on the show was sad. Sad for John B, sad for everybody. It felt like a end of an era. I mean, John B's dad going missing in episode 1, season 1, like from the jump, that is what it's been about. John B, his whole battle of finding his dad, and then his dad comes back. He's not exactly what he was hoping for, but he was a dad who loved him and ended with great advice for him. And I think just the end of an era.
And, you know, somebody who does the things that he's done and go the length to get to where he was and be as selfish as he was, to have that beautiful moment that pays off at the end in the boat. Where he looks at Sarah and he looks at me and, you know, looks at this nugget of gold and realizes that, was this worth it? You know, this relentless pursuit. I'm never going to see my son and his wife, and whether they have grandkids or not, like that, I'm missing out on that all for what? For this shiny little nugget? Is it worth it? And I think it's a really, really, really beautiful moment.
And a group of teenagers who are with us today, locals, who grew up here and who succeeded where centuries of conquistadors, explorers, and admirals failed. Today, we come together to celebrate these teens. Friends from both sides of the island who came together to solve this 500-year-old mystery. Let's hear it for them!
We were excited. We've been talking about this. We've just been like, we got to get some golds. I mean, we're just running. We got to get something. So we were really happy that end or punt, whatever you want to call it, on a good note. Because it feels like, you know, we've been at it for like 3 seasons, that like people are going to want to see us eventually, you know, get to something. So we're happy about that.
I don't know if it's perfect. I think that's what they realize. And I think, if anything, that's a little fearful to JJ, is once he gets what he wants, then it's like, what do we do now? I think it's a relief. I think it's a relief that the Pogues did it. They kind of accomplished the treasure hunt. Now it's, again, I think what I'm realizing kind of as I keep talking is that the Pogues want a distraction to growing up. So when they accomplish their goal of finding the treasure, getting it all squared away, and then they don't have a distraction no longer to grow up, I think that's when things started getting a little worried, a little worried about where is everyone going.
It was weird in the same way that they felt. They are getting this strange recognition, and they're on a side of the island that they're not used to, and the achievements and the accomplishments that they've been a part of are now on display for people that they don't necessarily associate with. It's a bizarre feeling. You're being accepted by the same people who were calling the police on you. And you have one moment of success, right? And then everybody wants a piece of the pie. And they want to shake your hand and say congratulations and, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Don't worry about the time where I called the police on you for, you know, driving through my lawn. And I think that's sort of the interesting part of that whole moment is there's what happened in those 18 months. Will we explore it in the 4th season if we get the opportunity? Who knows? But when I saw it, that was my initial reaction. Are they still as close as they once were? Are they not? You know, are John B. and Sarah putting on a little bit of a front because of, you know, this whole induction of you know, acknowledging their hard work? You know, is JJ okay? You know, we saw that Luke is there, which is, I think, his father showing up in that moment was a huge, like, what does that mean? You know, there's a lot of unanswered questions in that moment, which I love, because I don't know. I don't know if the writers know, and we'll see what the reality of the situation is.
I was like, that's not this show. No. Yeah, I was like, wow. They you know, they had to. They finally had to get a win. You know, they had to get a real win, and they did. And I feel like, man, it is just such a moment of like, wow, like these kids like are getting recognized. They genuinely did it. Like, who thought they'd ever be here, you know? Who thought such a simple finding a boat in the middle of the water kind of sunk would lead to, like, this for them, you know? And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with their newfound fame and, like, how they deal with, like, now that we've done this, like, who are we? Like, what's going on in our lives? You know, we have that 18-month jump, and you kind of allude to what's going on, but, you know, we don't really know how each of them feel about it, you know? Like, they're just kind of going through, they're happy they're here, they're happy they have this to show for it. But, you know, it's like, you know, there's always that call to adventure for them, you know?
I liked that they were like showered and clean. Yeah, I thought it was nice. I think it wrapped it up nicely. I mean, honestly, after season 2, I was like, damn, are these kids ever gonna? Is the universe ever gonna throw them a bone? Like, are they? What's gonna happen? Like, are they ever gonna get what they've been chasing after? So I think it was a really cool way to wrap up the season. It kind of feels like seasons 1 through 3 have been kind of like a trilogy. So I'm really mostly interested in what's next.
We deserved a win. I'm glad we got a win, and I'm glad that we are being like recognized as explorers. And I think that's what the Pogues want, all deep down. Like, what do you make out of a hobby of treasure hunting? And that is exploration. And I'm really happy for them. I am excited about this time jump. I feel like we've buttoned up seasons 1 and 2 and 3, and we have, in a way, a clean slate.
Yeah, we jump a bit of time, so a lot has changed, a lot's going down, but I think it was a very interesting scene. Pretty much every character's there in one moment, and we're all there for what the show's all about, the treasure. And then the episode ends where, you know, who knows what's next.
I think Rafe's kicking back in Fiji, maybe some pina colada in hand. I don't know, maybe he's like settled down with a family somewhere. You know, he's got himself a corporate job, a dog, maybe a kid on the way. I really don't know. I mean, like, who knows? I think that's what's good about it too, is hopefully, you know, maybe people will notice that, and I think the mystery is important to be like, I wonder what he's up to. I mean, I don't know what he's up to, so, but we'll see.
This is the captain's log. This shows the exact position of the ship.
The exact location where the ship sailed and where it stopped.
Who is the captain?
Edward Teach. Blackbeard.
God damn.
Like, we're gonna have to raise the stakes a lot more. So I'm pitching a submarine in outer space. That's what I want to experience. I'm sure all my castmates will hate me for saying this, but like, yeah, I'm hoping that we add in those elements.
I hope it's portrayed correctly about Blackbeard. That's what I hope. You know, if we're gonna bring in a historical character that was a real person, I hope it's historically correct. That's what I hope for.
I hope there's a little hesitation. You know, do we really want to go back into the fire? You know, we've lost lives, we've lost loved ones, we've fractured relationships and friendships, and our world has been upended. You know, we've lost our home, you know? And is that going to be easy for them to jump back in? Are they willing to take that risk? Are they willing to potentially lose even more just for the high of the hunt? So I think there's a lot at stake, and I think there's a lot for them to digest before they make a choice whether or not to go back into this world.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope I continue to work with them. You know, if it's not this, you know, maybe it's something else down the line. I love you, Chip.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the thing that this show does really good with every treasure hunt we have is they make it personal. So I'm wondering, you know, as we get into this new hunt, you know, like, how do those stakes work personally for each of them? You know, like, how do the things they did in the past seasons come back to haunt them on this new hunt?
I want to see Kiara be happy. I'm excited to see what happened with her and her parents, if there's forgiveness in her heart for that, or what that is. And with their ending with a job proposition, I think is really cool. And like I said, how do you make a career out of this hobby? And we love going on a wild goose chase, but now we have an opportunity to do that, which I think is really cool. I'm excited for that journey.
What do I hope to see for Topper? I want to see him win. I want to see him find love. I want to see him find happiness, fulfillment. I think that hopefully his head's in the right place. We'll see. It probably has been going through a lot. Hopefully he doesn't turn to drugs or substances like Rafe did. But we'll see. Maybe we'll see his mysterious girlfriend finally.
I mean, well, if you grow up in North Carolina, Blackbeard is a legend. Like, it's a very everyone is aware of Blackbeard, but for North Carolinians in particular, he stands tall.
So Blackbeard's like a big one, but we've got some twists on the Blackbeard thing coming in season 4. It's not going to be your dad's Blackbeard.